Tom Harrison was a broadcaster, journalist, soldier, conservationist, filmmaker, archaeologist, kind of a war criminal, and yes, also an ornithologist. He was born in Argentina in 1911, travelled around the world being a dick, but during World War II his skills were really put into practice when he was parachuted into the jungles of Borneo. He'd been there in the early 30s and knew the language, so his job was to set up networks with the local villages to start a rebellion when the Australian army arrived to invade. Now, the British previously ruled Borneo and they spent decades trying to stamp out the practice of headhunting among the locals, and they'd basically succeeded. And Harrison decided to change all that. He informed the locals that the British had decided that heads could be taken after all, but only Japanese heads. He had an army of about 6,000 men armed with blowpipes, bows, arrows and swords. They started killing Japanese soldiers who entered the jungle, not even waiting for the Australian army. And when they did arrive, the Japanese retreated into the jungle. Remains were still being found years later. Harrison celebrated the Japanese surrender of Borneo by probably raping a Japanese army nurse, and then spent the next few years living in Borneo as an anthropologist. He died in 1976. Richard Attenborough knew him.
I first came to know Tom Harrison some 50 years ago